my publisher, who is such a nice guy, said, sell some books or break your legs.
So he has books just like Susan has books, so see them both, please.
And now, film buff, compulsive gambler, car thief, ex-lion tamer, Alan Harris.
Yep. Alan Harris is in the house. Wait, let me frame you. Guilty as charged.
Mr. Warren. Mr. High.
I don't know anything about economics, but from what I understand, the job of a capitalist is to make money, and the job of a consumer is to spend money. But what confuses me is that in order for the consumer to do his or her job, which is to spend money, the consumer has to work at another job in order to get the money to spend. And this makes no sense to me. If the job of a consumer is to spend money, then shouldn't the money be supplied to the consumer by someone else? I mean, the consumer could spend a lot more time spending money, which is the consumer's job, if the consumer didn't have to waste time working at another job in order to acquire the money the consumer needs to do the job of a consumer. Maybe that's why there's crime. Maybe criminals are actually consumers who are just trying to expedite the process of acquiring the money needed to do the job of a consumer, which is to spend money. Wouldn't it be more efficient if the capitalist, whose job is to make money, was to give some of the money that he or she makes to the consumer so that the consumer can then go about the business of doing his or her job, which is to spend money, without any distractions? It just seems so simple. The capitalist makes the money and gives some of it to the consumer to spend. Everyone is doing his or her job, and no one is wasting time working at a job that they hate, like taxi driver, or concierge, or janitor, or sales clerk, or box store greeter, or vice president of bullshit, or executive director of extraordinary bullshit. We can all go about the business of business from whichever end of the equation we are on. Capitalists should just do this. Governments should make them do it, and a law should be passed making it illegal to be a greedy asshole. I know this is childlike thinking, but what's wrong with that? Children are great thinkers. They cut through all the crap because they haven't lived long enough to have been inundated with too much crap. They see things for what they are and ask good questions like, why is the sky blue? And where do babies come from? And which is more likely to stimulate an economy, Keynesian economics or supply-side economics? What this world needs is more childlike thinking. And by the way, that's childlike, not childish. There's a difference. Just like there's a difference between simplicity and simple-mindedness. Are you listening, Mr. President? Or are you too childish and simple-minded to even make that distinction? Do you need me to define the word distinction for you, Mr. President? Do you need me to define the word define for you, Mr. President? You know what? I'm not going to waste any more time insulting you. The other children and I have an economy to save. Who would have thought Donald Trump bashing would be an applause line in here? This is from my book, which the UK Guardian called Bloody Awful. I'm all hopped up on indecision, looking at the world from the vantage point of a permanent fetal position, through the haze of an ongoing existential tantrum, catching glimpses of a worshiper of glib deities, an impersonator of inanimate objects, a cutter with a dull blade, the lethargic dignity of an arrogant snowflake, the telegenic outrage of a waiter who has switched jobs with a gynecologist, the accidental passion of a belching, swollen poet bouncing off the walls of a book-lined asylum, and the panic attacks of a slacker wannabe whose fantasy mirror reflects laid-back nihilism and a reflexive suspicion of anyone sending out their thoughts and prayers amidst gratuitous displays of superficial depth and repeated suggestions to man up, while the ongoing battle rages between the sonic opiate and the concise chaos of the moment. And my therapist informs me that insane is the new sane as he combs his hair with a laser and sends me home for another round of cryptic small talk with a perpetual puppy, a meal of grass-fed ambiguity, and the endless recharging of devices. Night falls, books cry, unions die of loneliness, and I think again about buying that drone I saw on Amazon for those days when you just want to urinate on a rainbow. Thank you.
the lovely and charming Alan Harris. Who do we got next here?
Oh, sorry. Up next is Karen.
Karen Milana Magoon, bringing the house.
And after Karen, the Clyde Always Show.
And then Melissa, and then David, our mini feature, and Uche, right? I got it right again! Zane, and then Marquis, our closer. Thank you so much.
Thank you always, Dan, for being the ultimate, the everything great host of all this for so how many years?
17,000, it hardly seems that long.
17,000 years. All right. Wow. That's
Give or take.
Give or take a few. Okay.
What did I just do?
We've had a pretty horrendous week. Okay. And I wrote this poem just saying what our politicians seem to say when they're talking about guns is, oh, it can't be helped. Again, a massacre in the USA weighing on the conscience of every elected leader in our country. Again, a massacre. 50 dead in minutes at a concert of 30,000 in Las Vegas, shot by a man with his play toys. A man who enjoys collecting guns and wanted to use his toys to kill. We use our toys on the world to murder at will, to kill. Instead of taking care of our people, providing our citizens with health care and education, we buy weapons and kill. And our citizens have the right to collect lethal toys, to kill and kill again. Sandy Hook, Charleston, Orlando, Chicago, Las Vegas. Where is the next target? Why are we so generous with our potential killers? We open our gun stores to them. Come, get what you want and kill when you feel like it. In China, citizens cannot buy guns. In Canada, after the Montreal massacre, strict gun control laws were enacted. In Australia, a massacre provoked legislative action against guns. Only in the USA, where victims can easily be faulted for the violence against them, will we continue to nod our heads as massacres occur, and we say, they can't be helped.
So, I wanted to ask you. This is about 15 years ago, and I was on the Mission Street, and I was walking down Mission Street, and I saw a gun shop. I found out later it was the only gun shop in San Francisco. And in the store, on display, the front window, I could have, if I had the money and wanted to do it, I could have bought a bazooka. They told me that the cost per shell was $400, but they could get me the shells if I wanted them. Just to say.
And you put yourself on the list.
No. I was just amazed to see a bazooka in the store window for sale.
Right. Cannons, bazookas, automatics, you name it. What do you want? Okay. Drones. Diesel drones, yeah. My heart bleeds still for all the people in Puerto Rico. I think I did Maria last.
Yes, you did.
I thought I did. I was thinking, really, has it been that long? You know, and that we have done so little still. So something for October that's not lethal. October 2016. The sky hangs gray. October veils infinite shades of white, weave themselves through afternoon chill. Skeletal limbs of naked trees stand strangely unperturbed, silent witness to forgotten dreams. kind of in memory for my my last husband, and it's I didn't write it just yesterday, but petals of late summer, it still seems the right season. I find your lips among the petals of late summer. I gather them to kiss their dewy tears. I feel the wind become your tender arms that guide me down the gently flowered path. I ask you if your touch is made of dreams or spun in stardust's milky silken threads. You answer that our smiles are made of spirit. Our children waiting nestle in the moon, curled up in spinning gossamer cocoons of silk and dew and kisses sweet and damp, sprinkled with shooting stars, fallen like petals of late summer.
Nicely done. Karen Miranda,
Next, the Clyde Always Show.
Hello. You don't want to miss this.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, come on, step right up, folks. Go and grab yourself a front row seat before they're going. Yeah, they're going fast. You don't want to miss this. It's time for another exciting installment of the Clyde Always Show with me. You're always clever, always handsome, always charming host Clyde. Always, and ain't no common carnival worker. I am the
Bard of the Lower Haven.
And tonight, I've got an interactive show for you because I've written an allegorical poem, and if anybody can guess what historical event I represented metaphorically, you will receive, as my gift to you, a free copy of Hipsteriferous, my latest zine.
Helen of Troy.
So,
Sorry.
so look,
That's my
it's
first
called
guess.
The Schoolyard Brawl to End Them All. On the sunniest playground is where it all started, between all those mischievous boys who each to the gathering happily guarded a wagon of dangerous toys. They boasted their blasters were bigger and meaner and showed off their boom-banger bombs. Then each to another said wussy or wiener or eat it or choke her, your moms. Big Jakob the bully was powerful, brawny, and savage to all of his foes. But Boris, his neighbor, was sneaky and scrawny and suckered him right in the nose. So Jakob, he shouted all steaming and sweaty. Little Boris, he threatened to hit. But Ivan, the brother of Boris, was ready to sock him back lickety-split. Well, Jakob's pal Otto, already disdainful of Ivan and Boris the pair, he promised them punches so terribly painful it gave both the brothers a scare. Pierre was a buddy of Ivan's forever, and Otto was causing him grief. So up went his dukes in the noble endeavor to come to dear Ivan's relief. Another boy, Lucas, was just a bit lazy. He said he'd stay out of this fight. But Otto was throwing his knuckles like crazy and clobbered poor Lucas on sight. This really got Reginald angry and huffing, so added himself to the brawl. And he swore then and there that he'd knock out the stuffing from Otto for once and for all. Then other boys jumped to get in on the action, like Omar and Marco and Sam. And they walloped each other with gruff satisfaction and gave not a goofy goddamn. They fought till their fists and their faces were bloody. They fought in the gravel and dirt. They fought till the playground was tarnished and muddy. They fought till their gallbladders hurt. At last they grew tired of punching and bruising, and then entered the somber adult. And all of those boys pointed fingers accusing that Otto was solely at fault. So Otto was punished, and all of his sorrow and into detention was hurled. But brooding, said Otto, he'd conquer tomorrow the playground and later the world. Whoa, yeah, you got it.
Who was that? Ding, 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 ding.
Any time left?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
What was the answer?
2 minutes, 22 seconds.
2 minutes, 22 seconds. Yeah, the big one. No, that was
The great one.
You mean it wasn't?
Okay, well, I did this one last week, but I'm going to do it again because it went over so goddamn well. I'm Clyde Always, and this is Clyde Always finishes what he starts. One evening, barely midnight maybe, wifey asked with eyes alit, I wonder, could you, baby, eat my pussy for a bit? So chivalrous did I agree, and smile warmly with my eyes, while coaxing moans out with my free hand, pressed my face between her thighs. She blossomed open like a lotus, squirming madly where she lay, as nibbling eye was scant to notice, night had blossomed into day. Don't stop, she called, her breathing buckling. Yes, I answered, bowing meek, though sore my joy kept on suckling, never stopping. all that week. I'm almost there, she kept insisting, bringing me about to tears, as down I bend my tongue a-twisting, better part of 20 years? Now never doubt a man's persistence. Dying there upon that bed, I promised her I'd go the distance. I'd become the munching dead. They buried us with service fleeting, causing but a meager fuss, while underground her was I eating, little worms were eating us. Then eons passed, our bones were lusty, skull to pelvis just the same. Then flew a puff of something dusty. Finally, she fucking came.
Wonderfully profane, like always.
Profoundly profane.
Who else needs a shower now? Up next, Melissa Miller.
Melissa Miller in the
Our mini
house.
feature, David Edright.
Right.
And then
Uche.
first time? Nope, not first time. And Zane, also not his first time.
Thank you.
And then.
Oh, and then, sorry, last word, Marty.
Marty,
all the way
last
on the
word.
other side of the page, and I'm not very bright, so sorry.
He is bright. He's just like confusing. Oh, you better. Thank you.
So I read somewhere recently something that really resonated with me, and somebody wrote that part of self-care is to try to not make sense of violence, and so that's hard not to do that. I wrote this poem mostly speaking to straight, white, cisgendered women who call themselves feminists until trans issues are brought up. So, that's this. A news story read, charred body found last week in backwoods of Missouri. 2 cisgendered women with the help of 2
For Democrats, it seems the country is on the mend. Liberal voters delivered their first forceful rebuke of the president on Tuesday night, exploiting Trump.
Cisgendered white men read colonialism, patriarchy, trans misogyny, white and cis supremacy, took torch to a trans woman in an attempt to extinguish evidence of her murder, in an attempt to extinguish evidence of her. Can you imagine insecurity so deep you'd kill another who breathes more freely? Imagine a loathing of self so sturdy and vile it would turn vicious. Close your eyes. Imagine it. Close your eyes because you still have them and you can. She didn't when she burned because they gouged them out before they mutilated her genitals. I stagger here, struggle to imagine it myself, human, reduced to body. But then I remember that we live in a country whose selfdom is deeply pockmarked, built by oppressors forcing the oppressed like working dogs on stolen land. Mush. We are a people that tout uniqueness, but not too much. Lashed are those who threaten the heralding of homogeneity. Feared are the ones who diverge from paved paths to the rough. I know you don't want to hear this. You, with your white, cisgendered privilege and your wine-laced ladies' nights brimming with stories of shared experience. You, with bellies full of hope and mouths full of laughter, spewing unruly residue over everything. I know you don't want to hear this. You, who dub women women by presence of tits, vaginas, communal bleeding on full moons, felicitous posture, and come hither stride. I know you don't want to hear this. You. I know you scroll past these stories on your feed while you elbow fellow passengers on your work commute in the morning, think, this world is beautifully bruised and brutal, but I'm late and need another cup of coffee before I engage, need to savor every sip without any more bad news. But do you? Do you savor it really? Or do you just sip and take up space? What you need to understand is that the violence perpetrated against transgender and gender nonconforming people must exist for the binary system to remain in place. This is not an accident. We perpetuate it with our silence every day. The media perpetuated it by identifying her by male name. Human was once identifiable by a male name. No, she will not be reduced to gender. Human was once engaged to a woman. No, she will not be reduced to sexuality. Human, not 21st transgender person to be murdered in the United States in 2017. No, she will not be reduced to statistic. Human, not charred body found last week in backwoods of Missouri. No, she will not be reduced to body. Human. Her name is Allie Lee Steinfeld, and she was 17. Thank you. I have two more. This one is really old. I don't even remember when I wrote it, but I just found it. I never really liked popcorn. It always tasted stale to me. I guess you can add another tally to the lie list. Hold it over my head like an upside-down umbrella during the downpour. I don't think I'm in love with you anymore. I spoke those words to you after work as we sat across from each other at our kitchen table, clutter-covered, soiled with food crumbs, dying hydrangeas, your half-empty beer cans, and slews of coupons collected by our housemate, who would later use them to justify making dozens of purchases nobody needs to make. You stared, mouth agape. Even I felt your heart sink, heard it hit bottom like a coin clink on tin. There is something to be said about letting a lover go, the dichotomy of beauty, its bounty, and the way it dances with ache. I want to be unapologetically bold, lavish with my love and gouged open. How do you gently welcome a reclaimed freedom? How do you not greet her wildly and with an open-mouthed kiss? Never. I'll end on a very much lighter note. This is a list poem. It's called Professor Benjamin Floyd Pinkerton, Ph.D., Dogsplainer and Scotch Drinker Extraordinaire, or 20 other names for my dog. Floyd, Floridian, Professor, Pinkerton, Mr. Man, Muff, Muffin, Muffin Man, Monk, Punk Monk, Fuzzy Monkey, Monkey Man, Munchkin, Wiggle Bum, Buddy, Bubba, Bud, Dude, and Duder.
Listen up. Up next, our mini feature, David Enright.
And then you got Uche, Zane, and Marty. We're making up for it over there, just so you know.
Thank you, Dan, for your patience last week.
Oh, you know how I am. I'll get back at you.
Good. I feel better. A beak can crack nuts, tear flesh, snap spines, catch bugs in midair, probe worms, sift small invertebrates from water, catch many fish at once, remove fruit from its outer casing, spear frogs or fish, defeat snakes, curve sideways to remove a snail from its shell, open shellfish, act like a chisel or awl to penetrate tree bark, and sip nectar. In your observations of life, please tell me again how you don't believe in evolution. Alan, thank you. And also thanks Karen and thanks to Richard for addressing the idiocy in Las Vegas, so I don't have to do it. Thank you. It was very apt. Consumer in the American lexicon, another word for sucker. A pocket to be picked, a retirement account to be rifled, a senior to be abused, a co-ed to be bullied. Like the failed California politician who made his bundle by rigging payphone booths to not return all the.
Do mom and dad struggle with a computer? Are they fearful of even trying? What if we could take away all the frustrations of dealing with a computer and still maintain the benefits? Now there is a better way.
Deposited coins when calls did not go through, or to cut off calls in mid-sentence due to lack of deposited coins. Ancient history in our short attention span. Collect them all culture. Steal candy from babies. Greed has always been the way. If you're privileged white male, just ask the Rockefellers. If you must use violence, do it surreptitiously. Facebook, the Frankenstein monster out of control. CIA makes East German Stasi look like punks. Snowden or Assange, one's a revealer, the other's a stooge. Collateral damage, murder by drone. Inject petroleum directly into the bloodstream. What's the worst that can happen? Oh, mild fracture. What's a little earthquake between friends? Transparency? We'll give you transparency. But first you'll have to get past the razor wire. The station. The station. The station where Oscar Brent was shot. The station. The station where twice gangs of teenage youth attacked all and sundry. The station. The station where just around the corner hope is rekindled every day in the library where Latin culture nestles inside the prevailing wind of America. Plants new seeds in the minds of fertile humans. Once a month, the Vacha holds forth, holds out her verbal arms, coaxing as many languages as dare to come alive, testify, light the interior, sing the body electric, and deliver reverb to the human wire.
Nice.
Ray Bradbury warned me about it over 60 years ago. Every face glued to a screen. Real time has slipped into reality time, a pale fracture of its former self. I will be out for a walk in the neighborhood, some pleasantly cool evening. No one else will be on the sidewalk. A totally automated car will sidle up to the curb. No human inside. On the door, a thin strip says, Polizia. A door will open. A voice will say, get in. I will disappear with a whimper, not a bang. My frangipani carefully extracted, turned off by a simple switch. My empty body frozen for later dissection. Each of you crackle on. A human pinned at every crosshair of the grid like some moth held in stasis. The inner flutter of your hearts melded into the general hum. Soothed by Siri's tongue in your ear as you crunch your Kafka power bar and sip your Sartre Genet cafe.
The pedestrian.
3 minutes 50.
Yeah.
Breathe, VA, slant 6. Why delay when a disappearing checkbook strays onto the dotted line of signature paintings designed to portray the very ego of clever misappropriation, self-relegated to a shelf life continually have, so that the morning completely dissolves into an afternoon of high holidays, unatoned New Year's, old musty suits, ties wide enough to drive a truck through, loops, bows, knots, sandpipers, slugs, slots, slithers, highways straightened in order to curb curls from process to short order prancing through a diner of Calliope Calliope, Catholic, pro-nun, C.A. shun, ignoring the precept of God's intermediary to find a teacher whose Scotch, Persian, Peruvian ink is still dry to the touch, like mortar, glue, universal solvent where mysteries lose their moisture, dry rot reinvigorates decay, mycelium composed of clouds of disgust, rain, Quincy compotes of jazz arrangements neat as a Ray Charles pin, because last names, surnames, tsunamis are often place names tied to the earth, to your toenail polish, and fungus manifests as either mucus or a dry cough. The balance of throat clearing matches inner ears lost in incendiary dreams where toe jams hold the portal ajar, condiments avoid condemnation, and a quick twist of the wrist renders fat invisible jiggles, love handles into an acid bath of heavy metal removed by the seaweed of attachment to a dulse pounding in your brain, garlic as good as 10 fathers minced past recognition in Dubrovsk filters, back burners, eucalyptus torch, rubber rebar attorneys talking. Eucalyptus torch, rebar attorneys taking fees, fi, fo, fum, everyone for their own personal use, burning public and private emails into a jet stream of verbal abuse on top of misuse of funds, humping the leg of Confederate statues until pigeon turds totally dissolve, winking tiger eyes, elephant nasal passages unclog, the distinction of extinction becomes succinct, and the wash in your basin leaves a residue overdue, payable by fines, extra fines, mint, tarragon, basque, arrogant, sunshine, tan, desiccated, rebuff, and shining in complete darkness. There is no perfect void, written in a nanosecond. Nano first. One-liner. I am Bic Pentameter. Who are you?
They're right. And up next, Uche, what is your last name?
Uche Eloise.
Uche Eloise.
And he's been here before, and I think this is your second time back, right?
Time here, yeah.
All right, good job.
Lazy Anglo tongue.
Say it again.
You know our lazy Anglo tongue.
What does that mean exactly?
That means that's why we always have a hard time.
Okay.
With other people's names. What? Yes, say it again. It ain't John or Robert. Yeah.
I just call Paul. He calls me. He calls me something else. I don't understand.
Do you want to do this? Do you want to come over here and do this?
Hey.
All right.
Sorry.
It's my time, all right? You go here. Talk about it. It's my time.
We're resetting it because we've been fooling around and being dim bulbs.
That's cool.
We don't.
All right. Let's see. Hostiles, welcome to Pacific Trade Winds. Yes. Okay. Wake up, goddammit! Wake up! Clean. Wake up. Clean. Wake up. No privacy. I gotta get my head settled. I need peace of mind. Wake up. Bathrooms. I hate cleaning bathrooms. I got a fucking master's degree. I hate cleaning bathrooms, but fuck it. But they say gratitude is live in the present moment. Just be present in this present moment. Be grateful. Do you believe that?
No.
Do you believe that shit? Just be grateful for this precious, grateful moment. I'm trying to change my mind to being PMA, a positive mental attitude. Think and grow rich. Yep, think and grow rich. The power we have right now. The power. Yes, breathe. Imagination, visualization. Just breathe. Meditate. The Buddha said meditate. Yes. Breathe. Feel my feet. Inner peace.
Baseball season is over, and 162 games plus the postseason can definitely be exhausting. Let's get an off-season recovery update from Drew Pomerantz.
This recovery series is brought to you by Comfort Inn and Comfort Suite.
Een positieve ruimte is voor mij een ruimte waar je energie van krijgt, waar je lekker in voelt. De sfeer is goed en wat me met name deugd doet.
Inner Compass. My Inner Compass. Movies. Starring Uche Eloise. Follow My Bliss. 3 months in. LA on my mind. LA on my mind. LA's fake. Nah, not. I mean, maybe. San Francisco in my heart. I love San Fran. America's favorite city. They say, being settled. You look like Joe Campbell, the mystic. Joseph Campbell.
Oh, thank you.
I'll follow my bliss, and doors will open. Money wasted. $26 megabus. I should have went. I should have fucking went. I had a ticket. I had a ticket. No housing. Stupid. I just call myself stupid. That's not self-compassion. That's not the Buddha, what the Buddha said, right? He said love and kindness, compassion. That's what the Buddha said, but I felt stupid. I didn't go to LA. I stayed in San Francisco, but hey. Thank you. And one more. Okay. Cities. Chi-Town. Chicago. Windy City, goddammit. LA, the bright lights. Hollywood, Universal Studios, Paramount, Denzel Washington, Will Smith, Eddie Murphy. Eddie. Who? My dream. Lights, camera, action. All right, it's my cue. Hey, can I get a cup of coffee? Cut! Uche, when you do the next scene, just look over here and look right here. Okay? All right. Cool. And action. Cut! Okay. All right. Action. Hey, can I get a cup of coffee? Americano, please. Cut! Okay, cool. All right. Well, we can do that. We can do this. I can look at you. I can keep on talking. I can look at your eyes. Melissa. Cities. San Francisco. My heart. I love San Francisco. I love California. Should I stay here? Should I go? Chi-Town. It's easy, it's practical. I got a place, but I don't know. But LA, I fucking want it. I'm obsessed. I want this shit bad. Thank you.
Uche! Amazing! I'm learning. How easy comes. Zane!
Marty.
Thank you, Zane! You're right. Come on, I don't hear applause out there, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, what's up, guys? I'm still in the body. That's cool. You guys want to hear a joke that I do with my friends?
Yeah. Trump! Oh, sorry, that's another joke. Never mind. Yeah.
Alright, here's the poem.
No, tell me a joke. Did I goof you up? I'm sorry.
No, you're totally fine.
All right. Sorry. I'm sick of it. There we go. I'm going to stop now.
So yeah, I kind of just been like playing around with old stuff and like piecing it together. And, I don't know, trying to do stuff. Into the fog or fire, I don't quite mind either way. I'm gonna smoke the rest of this goddamn cigarette because I deserve it, and the world is beautiful, but sometimes I want to leave it asleep instead. Let's innovate emptiness, craft frameworks with no logical place or home or excuse to be, but it's fine, I'm back in bed. Blow me over, singing sunshine and I am sorry, but blonde hair waiting for the bus to hit her, don't hear this, don't read this, the helicopters are dropping babies that I don't want to deal with, I'm sorry. I need more yellow and white accidents. The sun is out, but I'm pretending myself into the shape of grayscale or a folded spoon to scoop out what's under my torso. It's breathing some sort of red, and I'd like to think it's hidden oxygen or some type of wind, like out of harmonica or whistle, inanimate things making music, and I am just a part of the apology, laughter in a series of tin cans spread around the city, connecting faceless smiles to another set of faceless smiles. We like the earthquake in our knees because it reminds us we have some sort of week that can be played with, sipped through, and drank out of. Red cups or empty cans smashed on the sidewalk in quick succession, still have enough cough and spit to call ourselves full, speaking for every single person inside of me, different faces, all names and misspelled frantic, enough time to break open, call the innards us. It's okay, we don't have to look into the mirror, and if we remember something, it's not by choice, but I remember everything I should not. The city is made of stained glass, and I am doing everything in my person to call it enough. Getting smaller and sudden and intrinsic nothings, holding its skin in place with duct tape, looking at the drawer filled with knives, not knowing if it's upside down or if the ceiling just wants to cuddle, unknowing body stacked upon unfeeling body, dirt beds, and too much rain to call ourselves solid, sweltering in all of the cold, disorienting on purpose without purpose. I'm not finger painting with my insides today, call that enough, Mr. Tambourine Man, or bottom of the coffee pot, or a stale room stacked with all the things I haven't learned to give away yet. Oh, thank you. You guys want to hear another poem? Okay, we'll do another poem then. Oh yeah, thank you guys for the open ear and the open mouths and stuff. It's cool. Coin flips, and I don't quite know what to do. I'm placing my silence on a pendulum and pretending to understand physics. I'm peeking my head past atmosphere and letting my legs dangle below, suspended in too much belief like overalls or train tracks made out of string, leading the child all the way home to stained carpet. Home is a word, and words don't have bodies, so I should probably care less, but bodies are only words too. I don't know what to trust. I am holding a hope in my palm, and it is still crushed into a fist. Bloody knuckles, all pain and progression, forcing myself through an imperfect circle. I am learning to be smaller. Could have crawled all the way up to the windowsill and flipped out onto rocks out front, but consciousness held no memories, so existing was a bit of a frivolous affair. All show, all sensation, very few reflections in the funhouse. World is shape-shifting, and I don't want to recognize anything anymore except what a frontside grind and my pillow feel like, so it works out. I have hid the truth behind brick. Skull, top floor beneath the jackhammers. It's
how do I define family? Love, love and just never-ending support, and you can't define family. If you have a good family, an amazing family, there's no definition. It's a blessing. My name is Dawn Fitch, and I am the owner and operator of Puka Pure and Simple, a natural bath and body company. We've got great natural products. I think it's fun, it's good, it's healthy. It's definitely a family business. It's like moms, aunts, cousins. So we're making a little statement about natural health, natural care, and being an entrepreneur. Like, maybe at midlife you can start and do something different. And that's pretty much what I did.